McDonald's coffee.
The Broncos are going to lose today.
Never.
It's nothing special.
Small.
49ers are biased on Katie.
That is a stupid idea. You're
No. If I can't take it when my team...
I'll give the Colts the benefit of the doubt. Madden 21 was so bad.
I'm going to so like playing getting my body.
Has he played? Has he started in the
Right to tell you.
Tag them on Instagram. Second, and all these tantrums. I could have...
Monte Foreman coming out of Texas.
truly appreciate the offer.
What is up, y'all? That One Dude 2020 with the MI6 Sports Network, episode 12. I have the honor and pleasure of interviewing James Koh. If y'all don't know who he is, four-time Emmy Award winner, Associated Press Award winner. He has a lot of things that he's done in his career that people should know about, but of course also refers to himself as just a dude talking sports. James, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be on the show.
Love talking some fantasy football, so thank you, Ezekiel Elliott. I had to drop you early on, my man, but that's just the Dallas Cowboys. But I know you've been in this kind of career for a while, doing what you're doing with like Amazon and, of course, the deal that the NFL has. What is probably the most humbling lesson that you've learned so far in this career?
I kind of sort of knew this kind of early on, but it's like, you're just a guy, I mean, there's very few like superstars in the broadcasting world. And I always kind of sort of just view myself as somebody who's working, and I don't know, man, like I think everyone is easily replaceable, and that includes myself. So you have to figure out ways to kind of sort of stand out. And yeah, I mean, I just try to be a good coworker, a good coworker. I try to work hard and be nice to people and everything. And just kind of sort of go from there, man. So, you talk about humbling. It's just kind of sort of, well, I don't know, man. Like, I guess I kind of just view it as, like I said, I'm an easily replaceable asset. So I just try to make myself as valuable as possible.
That, folks, and humbling is expect to know. There's going to be rejections. There's going to be anything like that. You got to start somewhere. And I guarantee you, James, you haven't forgot the beginnings. Like I tell people, you have these. You just never forget the beginnings, my man, because I don't think people truly know how much hard it is. But fantasy football, though, man, we'll get into that. You, of course, say you've been yourself and establishing relationships. And, of course, I've talked to different people, and they have their own different reasonings. But what have you done as you, James being James, doing all the awards he's won, doing what you're doing with Amazon? How have you been able to specifically establish yourself in the sports media industry so people know who you are?
I think I've kind of established myself as as somebody who is like an infotainment person, somebody who's going to give you some good information. Obviously, I work and have been working since day one with Next Gen Stats, and I think people have come to expect some of that stuff. People have come to kind of expect bad takes, but most importantly, I think people have just kind of come to expect entertainment, and I think people do find that to be, part of my brand is that, like, look, you're going to get some info. I'm going to interact with a lot of my fans. And at the same time, man, like, I'm just here to entertain people. So I think that's been a big part of it. And I think people have responded well to it, and, yeah. So, but you know what, man, at the end of the day, what it really comes down to, I think, and the reason I've kind of been able to carve out a long career for myself is I've really just tried to be like a good, like I said, like a good dude, like a good coworker, like I don't try to big time anybody. And I think that kind of is appreciated, by bosses, I would think. And, obviously there's some talent level involved too, but I do work extremely hard, at my craft. And again, I think people appreciate that.
Without a doubt, man. I wish people would kiss more had your attitude. It's okay to be professional, but just be yourself, y'all. And I know some people probably aren't being themselves, just be yourself, folks, and I promise y'all it will work out. But you've had some moments. I've checked out some of your content here. Of course, you've had some moments, but what has been your favorite moment, either from talking fantasy football or building relationships off the field? What has been like your favorite moment in your sports media career?
I still think what I look. I love doing all this crazy, wacky shit that I do, and all these skits that I pull out and everything, and that's certainly been great. I just want to say, like, working at DirecTV has probably been one of the most liberating, the most fun I've ever had at work. The creative license that these guys give me and the rope that these guys let me have is just incredible. I mean, they really just trust me to do whatever I want. And I think I've paid that back in kind, so it's been good. That being said, when you ask for one singular moment, it's really interesting. I kind of sort of go to this whole thing of like, I really enjoy interviewing people, and I think I'm really good at it. I do a lot of research going into my interviews, and I think that part of it I excel at, but I haven't done a long form interview in a long time. But my favorite long form interview is probably with John Jones, the former UFC light heavyweight champion. He's just an engaging guy, very intelligent. Talking to him before and after the shoot was very engaging, and he was somebody that I really enjoyed sitting down with and having a really long conversation with. We sat and talked for 30 minutes. And parts of those interviews can, of course, be found online on YouTube as well. But yeah, it's been a great journey for me. But if you're talking about just one singular moment, it's probably that, man. Like just sitting down with John Jones and really getting to pick his brain.
Awesome, man. I definitely would love to learn more about the UFC. I think that's what matters is like you said, talking about building those friendships is sometimes maybe not everything has to be talked about on the podcast or on a video. And that's how you establish that trust. But I can say that you've done a great job so far, and more personnel. Just being free like that definitely makes it, without a doubt, more entertaining. But I got to ask you, man, though. I know you work with Next Gen Stats, which is in the current generation of the consoles and Madden. Which player would you like to see on the cover of Madden 22?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough, I mean, there are certainly a lot of players that had great seasons, you know what I'm talking about. But can I just give one dark horse guy that I think everyone would kind of sort of like? I kind of think if Ryan Fitzmagic was on the cover, I kind of sort of think everyone would dig it, man. Like, I know he's totally like out of left field and it'll never happen in a million years, but Ryan Fitzpatrick last year was so much fun. And I just feel like, over the last couple of seasons, he's really kind of sort of jumped the shark a little bit in terms of his popularity. And he's a widely recognized, football person. And I get it. Maybe not the casual fan would know, but I mean, hell, maybe the casual fan would know, with the shirt buttoned down. I mean, that's the thing. When you put him on the cover, he's got to come in one of his crazy get-ups. You know what I'm saying? Like he's wearing either Deshaun Jackson's jacket or like he's got his button down all the way down. You know what I mean? He's got the chest lettuce just coming out. But like, let that dude be Ryan Fitzmagic and let him be on the cover. That would be amazing.
Couldn't, man. I'd be honest with you, I didn't know what you were going to say, but that one I do like. And casual fan, I mean, you kind of think about this journey he's been on with the Jets and everything else, of course, with being in the MVP conversation multiple times in his career to the first 2-3 games with the Bucks. Man, I've got to throw a couple of them out there for you. This one, I know people are going to be, oh my gosh, he's such a boomer. I'm going to have to say this, Tom Brady. I know people can hate on, and the reason why I say this because you're talking about humbling lessons. I bet against Tom Brady so many times that I've learned my lesson. But think about it. So I understand some people like, oh, it's not a surprise he went to the Super Bowl. You went like this, but the odds were kind of against him. But I understand he's 43 years old, but kind of, I don't know what your thoughts are on Tom Brady, but what would you think if EA decided to bring him back on the cover?
I don't think too many folks would be mad. He's the GOAT. You know what I'm talking about? But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if he necessarily moves the needle at this point. He's a good player. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think a lot of what he did last year was sort of kind of, carried by his terrific supporting cast. But no question, like he's a great player. You know what I'm saying? And I just kind of wonder though, like, is he a guy that moves the needle? I almost think Patrick Mahomes still moves the needle a hell of a lot more than Tom Brady at this point. I think we've just become desensitized to Tom Brady's winning. And and the other thing too, it's like he wins a lot, but it's like I struggle to find like plays. Like, give me a play in this most recent Super Bowl where you're like, oh yeah, that's a iconic Tom Brady play. Like, there really isn't one, right? Like, all the images I think of Tom Brady are just him hoisting a Lombardi. Like, those aren't plays. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I think of Lamar, I think of him getting out of the pocket and just like dashing upfield. Patrick Mahomes making these crazy sidearm throws, no look passes, like. Saquon Barkley using the Saquads and to like jump cuts outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys have plays, certain, OBJ with the one-handed catch or whatever, but like Tom Brady doesn't have that. As a matter of fact, when you think about the one singular play for Tom Brady that I can think of, it's one where it was such a bad call. It's the tuck rule, right? Like,
I have a feeling you were saying that.
I could see Woodson knocking the ball out right now in the snow. Right, and the Raiders recovering, and somehow, some way, Tom Brady has gifted that ball back. Like that's not a great Tom Brady play, but that's the one singular play that I can think of with Tom Brady. So it's interesting, like Tom Brady's a fine choice for the cover of Madden, but I don't necessarily know if he's a guy that like moves the needle especially with young people. I don't think he moves the needle at all.
And that's where you kind of like, I guess you can say, prove my point, and that's where I say he didn't have the best arm in the NFL anymore. That's Patrick Mahomes, and I say that, but also kind of want to hurl because I'm a Broncos fan. But the thing is, now we know Tom Brady didn't have the best arm. He didn't need to be MVP candidate, but mentally, I think he's one of the most mental tough quarterback. And you could have the greatest arm and the greatest legs like Lamar, who I think is a good dude, but those sexy moves in terms of what you want to call them can only take you so far until you're in a big month. I gotta throw this next one out there. Of course, people, I'm a critical of this quarterback though. Another quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, MVP. Of course, loses in the NFC Championship game yet again, but has those MVP-like numbers. I know you work next to stats in EA. What kind of would go into a quarterback being on the cover? Is it them winning MVP, or is it kind of like a selection process throughout the season?
I have no idea what the thought process is, the decision-making process is on EA side, but if I had to guess, I'm sure, overall popularity, Q scores and all those type of things. I'm sure that factors in. And I think winning the MVP certainly doesn't hurt your case to make the cover of Madden. So I think Aaron Rodgers is that dude, like if they put him on the cover again, has he ever been on the cover? I actually don't remember. If he hasn't, he's
Brett
overdue.
Favre has, but even though Brett Favre wasn't but he wasn't with the Packers at that time of Madden 09.
He was what was he on the Vikings?
I think it was the Vikings, yes. But somehow he was on the cover with the Packers jersey. So, hey.
That's crazy, bro. So yeah, I tell you what, if Aaron Rodgers hasn't been on, he's overdue almost, to be on the cover of Madden. So that's interesting. So yeah, but I do think that especially as of late, they've kind of tended towards younger players. And I just don't necessarily know if he fits into that mold. So we shall see, but he's overdue, man. He absolutely deserves a cover of Madden, and the season that he put together last year was very, very impressive. And I think made doubly so by the fact that every single person had basically counted him out and basically said, oh, this dude he's done as an elite player. I think that's what most everybody said. And he absolutely proved everyone wrong. So he absolutely is deserving of the cover, no doubt.
Well, I was one of those haters still, and you can consider me still a hater of Aaron Rodgers, but if we had a whole show about that would be a couple of hours. But this next one, though, you talk about the running back position, and the problem is like, things watching football, I did my research of this, less than 12% of running backs win the MVP award solely on their own, which is Adrian Peterson, but he never been on the cover. But this guy, Derrick Henry, he set the numbers, did the records, but he is literally the only bread and butter of the Titans offense. How do you feel about maybe him being on the cover, or is it just going to be you're just going to put another quarterback on the cover again?
Yeah, I feel like, it's hard for running back sometimes, and I think EA has had, pretty bad luck in terms of picking running backs that then the next year don't really do that well. You know, I mean, even going back to their first player cover of Eddie George, the year after that he was on, he struggled a little bit. You know, you could tell that the tread had worn down a little bit on those tires, man. And so, yeah, I think it's tough. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I just kind of feel like, look, Derrick Henry, another phenomenal player. If they put him on the cover, I don't think anybody's going to be mad about it. But again, I love Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry is a superb talent. Like, if he puts together another one or two of these seasons, you could put him in the Hall of Fame. It's all good. But that being said, the guy, does he move the needle? Do people care about Derrick Henry? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they do, but at the same time, you've seen offenses or defenses be, even though he's phenomenal, first year Hall of Famer, defenses have been able to stop it. I know it's very far in between.
I don't know.
A few of them have, because if you look at the playoffs, though, it's like once you stop Derrick Henry, this offense is as boring as butter pecan ice cream. I mean, it's just this offense has nothing towards them, like a bag of Lay's potatoes. There's nothing there without Derrick Henry. But he's phenomenal. He's great, but they've been able to a certain extent been able to stop him. And so I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to have him on the cover. I know people say the Madden curse, blah blah blah. I don't completely buy into that. You say Mahomes and Lamar and all these other guys, but I don't buy into the Madden curse. I'm sorry, I don't. Maybe I'm just some tinfoil hat boomer from 1940 that does only what, but I don't believe in that.
Hey, listen, I think Patrick Mahomes winning the Super Bowl the year after he was on the cover, I think shattered or should have shattered the Madden curse, the whole idea of this Madden curse. But yeah, no, man, listen, if they want to put him on, it's all good. But I will say this, though. Look, every good player, every great player has bad games, you know? So Peyton Manning, you know, one of the two greatest quarterbacks of all time, I mean, had a ton of bad games, especially in the playoffs. So, man, I don't know, man. Like, I felt like Derrick Henry was just about one of the most, sure pieces that you could have on offense last year. And again, if they put him on the cover, I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying?
There's a couple I thought of, like, why don't they at least put guys that got into the Hall of Fame first ballot onto Madden? You had guys like Peyton Manning, who I grew up with, first ever quarterback to see in the Super Bowl or on TV. You have other guys like, of course, Philip Rivers, who, if you read some content, I'm very critical of, but he's doing his thing and retiring now, having like 50 kids. But you see all these other players, like there's guys you could talk about. Drew Brees, of course, just retired officially. Maybe Philip Rivers, some of these other guys. But maybe it's just me, or I'm not a hater, but I'm getting a little annoyed of having just quarterbacks on that. I want to see guys like Watt or Hopkins, or maybe, because look at that Hopkins catch. I believe he should be. I'm not saying he's going to be, but that should give him a chance, just because quarterbacks over and over, I think, in my opinion, it gets redundant.
I think that's kind of a good call. I wouldn't mind seeing not players, but how about moments, and obviously moments will feature the players, but how about that Nuke Hopkins catch, over defenders, the walk-off touchdown reception, you know what I mean? Like, put that moment on the cover of Madden. That's not bad. That's not a bad idea at all, and I think we should see more of that for sure. I mean, if we are going to put Derrick Henry on there, put the moment where he's stiff-arming Josh Norman into hell. You know what I'm saying?
Oof.
Like, put
yeah,
that
Josh Norman on,
like, that would be awesome. You know what I mean? Like, put that moment on the cover of Madden. So that's an interesting call.
If you want to talk about emotions in terms of a player, what about, I said Alex Smith, and people say, oh, it's probably just because of sympathy or blah, blah, blah. You say, oh, you take him to the playoffs regardless if it was because of him or not. But, I mean, if people saw that documentary, I saw those photos. I'm not showing those photos to my parents. That's some nasty stuff, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, him winning Comeback Player of the Year, I think, was kind of a foregone conclusion, because we're talking about a player that, was – forget about, like, playing football. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just the fact that he's able to just get up and walk around normally, I think, is a pretty good story. And then him being able to compete as a starting quarterback in the NFL, I think is just it's incredible, man. So no, it's an incredible story.
Now, this last one here, maybe because, again, I can be a little bit biased when it comes to maybe guys on the cover. Fitzgerald. I thought he retired. He didn't, but maybe he's coming back. But I know he's been on the cover of Madden 10, but that was with Troy Polamalu. I don't know who would be your receiver to pick if they were to put a receiver on Madden NFL 22.
I don't know how you get away from Nuke Hopkins. I mean, I think maybe Devontae Adams is probably a good call too. Actually, Devontae's a great call. You know, the Packers, and people love the Packers and everything. And Devontae Adams had a really special season too. So I think either Devontae or Nuke would probably be my choice. I'm trying to think about somebody else that that was just had a phenomenal season. And also had like those like special like oh my god moments, you know. Yeah, nothing really. I mean, maybe you know what's crazy? Maybe DK with that chase down. Put that on the cover.
Ooh,
Let's go,
dude. There's been a lot of memes on that in videos all over social media, but I definitely think that should be the opportunity, my man. But of course, we always thank y'all, James Coe, for coming on the show. But of course, like we do here on the MI6 Sports Network, before we go, do what we kind of call like final thoughts or kind of any shout outs. So as we do that, let's go to this morning's final thoughts. I mean, James, do you have any shout outs or anything that you're doing or social media pages, type of content you're working on before we head out today?
Yeah, man, it'd be great if everyone could follow me on YouTube. I'm kind of getting my YouTube page kind of ramped up here. I've been on for years, and for a long time, it had just had like all my MMA stuff on there. But yeah, no, we're transitioning now. You know, myself and Adam Rank, we're starting a show. It's called The Tackling Dummies. It's on every Wednesday morning, and of course, you could find the past streams on my channel as well. We got a couple episodes in the book, but yeah, no, we're really looking forward to kind of reuniting here after all these years and doing a show together. And it's going to be a fun show. But if you guys could just search me out at James D. Coe on YouTube and like and subscribe and undo all those things, it'll have a lot of my fun skits on there too. So it'll have a little bit of something for everybody, man. But yeah, if you guys could follow me on YouTube, that would be wonderful. And of course, Twitter and Instagram. And Facebook as well. Just search James D. Coe and you'll find all my social media handles, man.
Of course, I mean, we'll always do that when the live video is done. We'll put the description down below for Instagram, Twitter, all of that, because I've checked out some of your stuff, man. Like, I do my research here, and so it's definitely a lot of fun. But I know you are a very busy man, so thank you so much for coming on and stay in touch, and we'll see you soon, man, on the show.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
McDonald's coffee.
The Broncos are going to lose today.
Never.
It's nothing special. Small. 49ers are biased on KD.
That is a stupid idea.
No. If I can't take it when my team...
I'll give the Colts the benefit of the doubt. Madden 21 was so bad.
So last time I'm getting my body again.
Has he played? Has he started in the
Right to tell you.
Tag him on Instagram. Second, and all these tantrums. I could have...
Devontae Foreman coming out of Texas?
Truly appreciate the offer.